the tape for this, our main event of the evening. We introduce the champion, Chris, the West Side Strangler Brennan. Let's get it on!
What's up, guys? We're here to go over Bellator 300 in San Diego, California at Pechanga Arena.
300?
Yeah.
It's kind of a big deal.
They got
cool.
to 300 before the UFC, and they started, 15 years later, maybe more.
Yeah, I guess I didn't do that math. It's a lot faster, isn't it?
Yeah, UFC's almost there, but they did it in
I think
less
they're
time.
294 is the one that's coming up in.
The UFC has
right?
a bunch of fight nights.
Yes.
And a lot of times when they are, there's something else they do that they don't number. And I forget what it is. I don't know if it's when they're in another country or what it is, but sometimes they have other events that besides fight nights that aren't numbered. Oh, that Las Vegas 52 or Las Vegas 23. They've been doing those now at the Apex.
Yeah.
So, they probably have way more, obviously, but Bellator's at 300. And not to break the news to everybody, but Bellator 301 is sounding like that it's going to be the last of the Bellators. I'm not positive. We're in camp right now getting ready for 302, which was hopefully going to be December 16th.
Yep.
But as the rumor has it,
where's 302 supposed to be if it happens?
San Jose, California.
Okay.
And so since our camps are so scheduled, so planned, we can't not be in camp and them decide to have the event because then we're behind.
Right.
And so we had to start, and we'll probably be 3 weeks in. We're 2 weeks in right tomorrow. Probably be 3.5 weeks, almost 4 weeks in when the announcement is made. And we don't know if it will continue to be Bellator.
Right.
Or if it's all going the other direction. And at that point, we just got to see, where we land. I think I talked about on the last podcast. Obviously, Lucas is in a great position.
Yeah.
He is 9-0. He's 23 years old. He's ranked number 7. There's no chance that he gets cut. And it's kind of a bummer, to be honest, because I would like the what's the period called? The negotiation period where I'm allowed to speak to the UFC, where I'm allowed to speak to whoever else I want to, ONE FC, whatever. And but we won't get that, I don't believe, because they will own our contract, so we will be, directly transferred over. I think the unsure part has been the hardest part about all of it. That and the fact that we really planned his career out, to be start to finish in Bellator like AJ was, and we were hoping Tyler, would get started and do the same thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
And how he won't even get a chance to.
Plus guys in the gym.
Oh yeah,
Ty,
Ty was getting ready to fight in Bellator. We had a lot of things lined up there, and I really liked, the way everything was handled there. So
seemed like
we'll see.
You had a good relationship, and there was good progress there.
Yeah, for sure.
Wow.
It helps when you keep winning.
Everything is solved.
I'm sure not everyone has a good relationship.
Yeah.
Especially the ones that get cut. But
sure.
When he's winning.
Well, this was originally Bellator 300 was originally going to be 4 fights. We lost one. Ryan Bader and I can't remember his.
Linton Vassell.
That's right. Vassell, there's an illness. I don't know. I didn't see anything more on that. I just heard it was an illness and he pulled out.
I heard along through the grapevine that he didn't want to fight. He just pulled out. There really wasn't an illness. And then kind of why I was able to touch just now on the Bellator thing is because then Bader went on and put Viacom on blast basically and said Viacom doesn't want to they don't want to fork out the money for the rematch because they're out in October. And I was like, oh, okay, I guess we're talking about it. You know? So, but it's not October, it is November. And there is one more after this one, so it will be November. Yeah. And again, we talked about it the last time. Just in Luke's weight class, number 4, 5, 6, 8, 9, and 10 are all fighting, and 11 if you count Kai just got bumped right out of the rankings, but he'll be right back in. And so all of those guys are fighting on this weekend and on the next one. And then you take Lucas, he's the one I skipped. He just fought. Pitbull fought down at 35, and then I think all that's left is Borix and Jeremy Kennedy.
Yeah.
And they're not fighting everyone else, So they kind of like give everyone like here's your,
here's your
you
chance.
get one more fight. You get one more fight,
Add to your highlight reel so as you
make some
start
money
shopping
before
around.
we're out.
Sure. Well, in lieu of that, there was one fight that you wanted to go over in the prelims, and this is Henry Corrales and family friend Kai Kamaka III.
Yeah. Good fight. Real good fight. Henry Corrales has gotten better. I thought he was good. He came on really strong early on when he was fighting like Keem Cage and stuff like that. And then he had ups and downs. He's fought a lot of times. He has to at least have double Kai's fights, I think. But
Yes.
he's a dog, man, and he's he about had Aaron Pico knocked out, then got caught and got knocked out. Am I right? Or did he knock out?
Let me look.
That was early on when Pico was hot and cold.
Aaron Pico, yeah, it was round 1 and it was punches. So
Pico knocked him out.
Yes.
Okay, so
Yes.
so Henry had Pico halfway out the door, and kind of dropped his hands to throw and got caught, and but he's then I don't know what he did after that right away, but then he's been on a bit of a streak.
He lost to Darian Caldwell, lost to Juan Archuleta, then beat Brandon Gertz, lost to Johnny Campbell, and then he's got 3 wins after that.
Super surprising he lost to Johnny Campbell. Johnny Campbell's good, but that's a guy that we were looking for as our step-up fight, our bump-up fight, and thought that it would have been a good one.
After Weber?
No, before Weber.
Before Weber.
Yeah,
Okay.
before Weber. And he's a 35er now. He kind of goes up and down, but he was a 35er. And but Corrales, he comes out of California. He trains he trains actually at Fight Ready in Phoenix now, but he's out of California and came up with a lot of guys that I train with. He's got really good calf kicks, but also Kai has nasty calf kicks. And so I think it's going to be who gets started on those early.
Okay.
Kai's violent. I think he's probably more violent than Henry. I think Henry's great. It's a tough fight to call, but I'm going to go ahead and go with Kai, and not on experience, obviously, since Henry has so many fights. But I think Kai is he's so hungry right now to get to the front of this division.
Yeah.
He was literally sort of in a roundabout way calling out us, Lucas, just to get into the rankings.
Yeah.
And his dad's like, his dad told me, and he's like, he wants to fight the best. I was like, bro, we're ranked number 10 at the time, 9 or 10 at the time. I was like, if he wants to fight the best, why isn't he calling out Pitbull? Like he just wants to get in the rankings.
Yeah.
And I thought, I was like, number one, it's a very tough fight to fight a guy that's not ranked at the time for the money we were getting.
Yep.
It was before the new contract. And I was like, I honestly don't want to corner against you, unless it's like for big money, for the contender spot or the title spot or something like that, and so I think he was definitely way too tough for the money we were getting at the time.
But it also makes sense that he's not calling out Pitbull, that he's calling out somebody reachable.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
No question.
from his standpoint, if you took the names out of the equation, unranked fighter calling out 10th ranked fighter to try and break in,
100%.
that's the logical move.
No question.
It just sucks that
Yeah.
there's there are relationships there. Kai's 28.
Yep.
Versus a 37-year-old.
Yeah.
In Corrales.
There's your other reason.
I mean,
I don't know that it'll play a part in it. Henry's looked great in his last 3 fights. He's looked so good, and you definitely can't count him out. I just think, like I said, I think Kai is hungry right now to be at the top of the division.
Yeah.
And so I think that he wants to show that he deserves to be at the top of the division, and I just think he's going to be a lot for. He's very hard to take down. He's got great hands. He has crazy calf kicks. I just think it's going to be a hard fight for Corrales to win. And again, like I said, I like him a lot. I just don't think he's going to be able to pull it off on Saturday night.
Kai's got 2 wins, but before that, he lost 3 out of 4. Kai went through a bit of a rough spot, and it feels like is he coming out of that? Do you
So
think?
he was in the UFC and got cut. Him and TJ were basically fighting for their jobs, and TJ won the decision. Kai got cut.
Yep.
And came to Bellator, and I think he lost his first fight, or he won one then lost one.
He won against John DeJesus and then lost to Justin Gonzalez.
Yeah. And
is a
even
tough
that fight, but even that fight was a very close fight.
Split
That's
decision.
another guy that I think that Lucas would like to fight.
Yep.
Justin Gonzalez, and I think looking back, I thought Kai won that fight.
Okay.
So
I mean, it was a split decision, so
Yeah,
it's easy
yeah.
to argue that he did.
well, he definitely did if I like him.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So you're calling Kai on this one,
for
but
sure.
recognizing that this is a tough fight at 145. And I'm sure you're watching this for lots of reasons, but
I am, but at the same time, we might have a whole new group of people we need to be looking at. But I was talking to Rich the other day, and I was like, if they take the roster and they go over there, Bellator's roster is better.
okay.
So I think we have the same guys to worry about.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If we're in the rankings and they take if they took the ranked guys alone,
Yep.
we have the same guys to worry about than we had before.
Sure.
Plus 2 or 3 guys from over there. But here, we have everyone in front of us that's a problem. And so I think, I don't know. I feel like, I don't know.
Well, I will be pulling for Kai on this. I've never even met the guy, but you've spoken highly of
Super
the family.
great family. Super great
You've
family.
spoken highly of him as a person, and it just seems like he's a good guy to pull for. So now we're going to move to the main event. Again, we're only 3. The first of which I believe is another connection that you have. Alima McFarlane is challenging Liz Carmouche.
The main card, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, what did I say? I said main event.
I was like, are we jumping to the end already?
No, my bad. Main card, thank you. Alima McFarlane facing Liz Carmouche.
So I guess they're training partners. They're friends. They've not fought. Am I correct?
I think that's right. And I think I remember, wasn't there a time where they really didn't want to fight each other? I mean, has there been some, or was this we will, but...
Yeah, I guess so. And they've not fought, right? Like recently?
I'm looking right here. It does not look like
Yeah.
they have fought at all.
Okay,
Nope.
so not to take anything away from Alimale, she's not a big 25er, and she fights at 25, and like she gets, like I saw her at Pachanga when Lucas fought, and she was just there,
Mm-hmm.
and I didn't even recognize her because she looked pretty thick. She looked big.
Okay.
And I was like, oh, that's Alima McFarlane. And I was like, she looks big. And so she looks out of shape big,
Okay.
but
She didn't
in
bulk.
shape, she's not a big 25er. She's not like Liz Carmouche is jacked.
Yeah.
And I just feel like she's going to be too strong. She's going to throw her around. And, I don't know because of seeing her out of camp what she looked like. I don't know that she could make 115, but I feel like 115 would be a better weight. I don't know what her legs and hips like, if she's real thick, and
Right.
and may have a hard time making that weight. But she's not a big jacked girl like Liz Carmouche is. And Liz Carmouche, again, she was Ronda Rousey's first fight in the UFC. So she's been at it for a minute, and
Yeah.
good, and took Ronda's back for a good bit of the first round before falling off and getting armbarred. But she's a great fighter, and I feel like she is like revived her career, and is obviously the champ now, and rematched. What's the girl's name that was that beat Alimale, then Liz beat her again, right?
Let me pull back up. I was just looking at Alima Male's record and what she's done. So if we pull up Carmouche here,
What's that girl's name that she just beat?
Deanna Bennett.
Yeah, before that, twice.
Oh yeah, Juliana Vasquez.
Yes, Juliana Vasquez. She's beat her twice.
Yep.
And And so I think, those are bigger girls. And I just don't think that Alimale is that big. So we'll see. But I'm going with Liz Carmouche keeping the belt.
Olimale's got it. She comes in at 13-2. She's got a strong record. She's got good wins. Former champ.
Yeah.
If Alimale does get the win, how does she do it?
I don't know, honestly. She would have to get on top and kind of stay on top because Liz is her jiu-jitsu's good. Her submissions are good. Her striking's good. She's a pit bull.
Yeah.
I don't see a route for Alimale to get her belt back.
You don't think she could win on the ground against Carmouche?
I mean, she could. She's got nice arm bars. She could arm bar. I don't feel like she's gonna be strong enough to do any of that stuff to her.
Okay.
So we'll see.
But you're calling this for Carmouche.
If I'm a betting man, I'm putting big money on Liz Carmouche.
Chris Cyborg and Kat Zingano. Feels like
Be
there's
careful with this one.
Feels like there's a disparity in size.
Yeah.
In that one as well a little bit.
This is how do you bet against against Cyborg?
Yeah.
I'm friends with Kat. She trained here a little bit ago, a couple months back, 3 months back. Her wrestling coach comes to my jiu-jitsu classes. She was an Olympic bronze medalist. Her wrestling coach, Randy, I forget her last name. Randy Field's the other girl that fights in Bellator. But she, again, this is going to be another fight where the physicality comes into play.
Yeah.
And, who's physical enough to throw around Cyborg, I hope that Kat can pull it off. I would love to see that. I'd be so stoked for her. I don't know if I know that early on she started talking about wanting her to get tested.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that's happening or not. Cyborg, I saw the side by side at the weigh-ins. She didn't, or at the press conference or something. She didn't look giant.
Okay.
So she might be being tested. I don't know, but I know that Kat originally had said that she wanted her to be, but I don't know if that is happening or not.
And I don't know how much you want to go down this road. Let's say testing is happening, and let's say there is an element of equalness that's coming into the ring. You still have a gigantic history.
Oh yeah.
Of assisted training.
Oh yeah.
How that doesn't just go away as soon
No.
as you stop, right?
It doesn't, but at the same time, look at Vanderlei Silva, Vitor Belfort, what's the giant black guy's name that came from Pride to the UFC? Overeem. Look at Overeem.
Overeem,
I mean,
okay.
look at these guys when they had to come off everything.
Yeah.
Their bodies changed completely.
Yeah.
There's pictures of Vitor and Vanderlei, their shoulders just slope off. There's no more shoulder caps, no more any of that, just whoop. And they went from looking 30 to looking 50, just like that. So it's hard to say. It's hard to say what her body. How old is she? They're both actually getting up there, huh?
Yeah, I've got Zingano up. Zingano's 41.
Yeah, see.
Which she looks fantastic for 41, by the way.
She does, but she's 41 fighting, right?
Let me
if you're
back
41 fighting in the 135-pound division,
Yeah.
in the men's division,
Yeah.
Tim is 36, and he's the oldest guy by 7 years in the flyweight division.
Yeah. And I should qualify. She doesn't look great for 41. She looks great.
Right.
Cyborg's 38.
38. God, I would not have guessed that Kat was older than her.
Yeah.
To be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah. I hope it's a competitive fight. I hope Kat is able to get a lot done, and it would be great if she could get on top of her. Kat's got very good ground. I would love to see her get on top of her and hurt her and make her gas out. Gas her out a little bit and be able to pull something off maybe in the later rounds. It's going to be a 5-rounder.
So
to be honest, that's a good thing. Not a good thing that the fight fell off, but good thing that the Bader fight fell off, just because it would have been 4 5-round fights.
Yeah.
Like, that'd be a long night.
that's a long, yeah,
Yeah.
that is a long night. When you go back and look at Cyborg's record, she's got 2 losses. I'm sorry. Yeah. So 2 losses in her professional career. One of them, the one that I want to talk, Nunes,
Yeah.
punches 51 seconds in. It was quick. My question was going to be, do you go look at that film? But at 51 seconds, I don't know that there's really anything you learn from that kind of a fight.
No, I mean, we learned that Amanda Nunes hits hard. We learned that the pressure from her, she Cyborg fights. Once she lands, she's real wild. She throws real wild. For someone who has good striking, she kind of throws that out the window.
Yeah.
And that's what happened. And she got clipped, and then she got dropped, and then she tried to get up and got dropped again, I believe. And I just feel like there's not a lot to take from that fight. Who's her other loss? Was it early on or later?
Super
right?
early on.
Yeah.
Jarena Bears.
Yeah, I don't even know who that is.
It was a Muay Thai loss.
Oh.
Lion Fight 14.
Yeah, I watched
mean,
that. That girl was really tall, kept teeping her in the face. That's not her MMA career. Does she have another MMA loss?
No, she does not. So
Her only loss right now is to Amanda.
that's according to Tapology, yes.
And so you can't even say anything about that, because Amanda beat Ronda, Holly, Misha, and Cyborg. The only 4 champions of her division.
Yeah.
She beat them all by knockout in the first round. So,
Goat.
yeah, for sure.
mean,
What are you going to say?
She's special. So it sounds like you're pulling for Zingano.
Oh, for sure. I'd love to see her pull it off. I just don't know. I don't know that it's going to happen. I hope it does. If she's the underdog,
Yeah,
I'm sure. Maybe how much?
it was I think I saw a slight underdog.
Not enough to go out of my way and bet money on.
So Cyborg's minus 550.
That's big.
She's moderate underdog at plus 350.
Okay.
So
We'll see what happens.
I don't know. So this is now the main event.
Yes.
Usman Nurmagomedov versus Brent Primus.
Brent Primus.
Usman's coming in 17-0. I don't know that. I mean, he is a Nurmagomedov. He's exactly what you think he's going to be.
He is.
But he might have better striking than what you would expect out of a Nurmagomedov. Is that fair?
Yeah, he's definitely the more striker based of all of those guys.
Yeah.
Umar also pretty great striker, but he's got great striking. A different build than most of them. He's kind of taller and lankier, a little bit slender. He is fighting Brent Primus. Brent Primus is the largest 155er on earth. He was when Luke was having a hard time making weight.
Yeah.
6 fights ago, there was talk of maybe he needs to move to 55. And then I showed him a picture of Brent Primus at the weigh-ins, and I showed him somebody else as well, Gleason Tebow. I was like, these guys are coming from 200 pounds, 190, 95 pounds.
That's a gigantic
Giant.
cut.
And I was 195 pounds when I was cutting to 155, and it was
My gosh.
brutal. But the 55ers are the weight class that they start to get big. They still have strength, but they still have speed.
Yeah.
That's a problem division.
It's my favorite division to watch.
Yeah.
Because you got one punch knockout
You can still get that. Yep, that's where it starts.
but it's so much faster.
Yeah.
And so much, it looks like it's the 135 speed with the 170 power.
Right.
It's such a cool division to watch.
Agreed. So
and I'm looking at a picture of Brett Primus right here, and the dude looks like a straight up
that's
bodybuilder.
155, and he's 5'10". He's Lucas's height, and he's that big. How does he make weight? I think we talked about it before. We were at where were we fighting? Mohegan Sun, actually, and Brent and Lucas were on the same card. Brent was the fight after us, and he came in the room the warm up room the night before weigh-ins. Lucas is on weight. Okay, he gets on weight the day before and then just eats and drinks, and stays at weight until weigh-ins. He comes in 20 pounds over at 9 o'clock at night, and he had to be 55 at 8 a.m. in the morning. And I was like, bro, what are you going to do? He's like, work a little bit right now, take a bath, take a hot bath and whatever, maybe another one in the morning, I'll be good. He wasn't lying. He made weight. He was sitting next to Lucas.
20 pounds in like 11 hours.
Bro, he was sitting next to Lucas looking like a crackhead, like just dying against the wall. His body was completely sucked up.
Yeah.
His face looked bad. He got knocked out. He got knocked out by Alexander Shabley that night.
Yep.
And
right cross to ground strikes is what it
those
says around
crazy
too.
weight cuts are very hard on the brain. Like your brain, there's liquid, there's water up there, right?
Yeah.
You need it.
Yeah.
And when you dehydrate it, if you're not allowed to rehydrate properly, if you don't have the time to rehydrate properly, you run the risk of getting knocked out easier,
Does it softens your chin?
I don't know that it softens your chin. Your brain isn't
Right,
protected. It hits you. All that happens when you get knocked out is your brain sitting here and your head bounces off the side, and that's a wrap, right? And so I feel like that protection's not there.
Sure.
So if you don't have that 2 days, that time where to actually rehydrate,
Yeah.
IVs,
IVs are legal in Bellator?
they're not illegal.
Okay.
So that's all I know. They've never been, no one's ever said they're legal or illegal.
They're just silent on the.
Yeah,
it's
the
just-
UFC has said that they're illegal, but the only two people that have ever been caught for it, like one of them pissed off the wrong person and was told, and the other one, I forget what happened, but they're like two stupid stories. They were trying to tell people that they could test for the plastics in their blood, and that's BS. I've spoken to doctors and nurses and everyone about that. It's not true.
Interesting. All right, so Primus is huge.
Yeah, so Brent Primus is great off his back. Real good jiu-jitsu. Slick.
Okay. And probably the stronger of the two, yeah?
Yeah, you think so, but those guys are also strong. over
I
there.
know. What is that? What they say? Hay bale strong? I think.
Yeah, it's not the same. Like Bryce Mitchell, for example.
Yeah.
So freaking strong.
Yeah.
Not buff.
Nope.
But he's hay bale strong. So those, I don't know. We'll see who's stronger, but at this point, how do you bet against Usman?
He's 17-0.
Yeah.
And he's coming in. I mean, it's hard. It's hard to bet against.
I'd
this
like
guy.
to see Brent pull it off. It'd be very cool. The belt is on the line, and they're in the tournament.
Yep.
So terrible that they're in the tournament, and the next tournament or the next event, there's tournament fights in there, and then I don't know what's going to happen, because if they don't have the finals of the tournament,
How do you not
I
think
assure you that
There'll
the
be
people who are in the finals
Lawsuits.
Oh, absolutely. Are you kidding me? If I'm about to fight a guy for $1 million and I've fought all the way through the tournament to get to the $1 million,
Yeah.
and that's cut off, whoever buys it is responsible. Like they've got to be.
Yeah. Which makes you hope that there is some kind of strategy with the path forward.
That's why we are in camp right now, because there's got to be an end to that, right? So there's got to be another event, or they've got to do the event in the other organization, and all that. So I don't know, but we're stay ready.
Usman Nurmagomedov is coming in at a minus 1585. Primus is coming in at plus 700.
Yeah.
Do you know how old Brent is?
He's probably getting there too, huh?
It's 38.
38, yeah.
Usman's 25.
He doesn't look old. He doesn't look old at all.
No.
He's very chiseled, but to be honest, he kind of reminds me of Drew Dober, who fights in the UFC. But Usman Nurmagomedov's 25, and he is already 17-0. I mean, he probably knocks him out. Probably knocks him out in first or second round.
If he's cutting another 20 pounds, hopefully,
I'm sure he will be.
Yeah.
He's giant.
Okay. Well, this is gonna be a great weekend. I know we got some. There's a There's a fight night happening as well. There's a lot of great action.
Yeah,
happening.
we were just talking about. I think it's Grant Dawson's fighting Bobby Green.
Yep.
That'd be a great fight. Grant Dawson is friends with a lot of the guys that we have here from Glory. He was at Glory for a long time.
Okay.
And now he's down at ATC, but he's a tough guy, man, and Bobby Green stuff's going to be a good fight.
21-1 for Grant Dawson.
Yeah,
the guy's got a great record.
I think Grant wins that fight. Bobby Green's dangerous and he's tough, but I think Grant Dawson makes it look fairly simple.
Okay. I'll be keeping an eye. I'm going to have to DVR one and watch the other.
Yeah. I'm going to have all the guys, my whole fight team, and then the guys trying out for my fight team this week all come over and watch it all.
Right on.
Yeah,
right on. All right. Well, let's do this again on Monday.
We will see you guys next week, I promise.
It is all over, just like that.